We're up pretty big in stellar lumens, and the same is true across the crypto space. We still have some upside overhead, plenty of potential, although we seem to be in a bit of a healthy correction at the moment. What we have in front of us right now is the linear short-term stellar lumens chart, XLM. And since our last update, we've made quite a bit of progress. In our last update, we had, the specter of a lower low had started to rear its ugly head, but we have put those immediate concerns behind us for the most part. We had our official low on February 24th, and we had what looked like 5 up and got all muddy for a while. And the chance that we had an ABC correction start to rise. But as you can see, based on this formation here, this 1-2, we've come well past, we've actually blown through the 1.764 extension. So it's very unlikely that this is a C wave. Doesn't mean I can rule it out fully. There's still a chance that if we have a sharp enough pullback, that it may set us up for more downside. But at the moment, things are looking pretty calm. We've had no real pullbacks in a while. This is the first one we've had. The same actually applies in the stock market too, in the Dow and the S&P 500. We've been experiencing some red the past 2 or 3 days, but it's really nothing more than a healthy correction as far as we can tell. And the same holds in pretty much all the cryptos. Although you see on today's rebound rally, Solana is up over 10%. There's a couple other cryptos that are up quite a bit. Ethereum is also leading the way. So a lot of bullish signs. Is this the continuation, or is this just a small bounce before a little deeper pullback? That is yet to be seen. Not totally sure. But even though we can't really tell what this structure is, I'm calling this a 1-2. Probably the orange labeling makes the most sense. If that's a 1-2, then we've already have more than enough for this to be, at least 3 waves up. This is presumably a 4th wave correction, and then we're probably going to have another high that goes a little bit higher before a more meaningful correction. The alternative is that we have a deeper correction now, and then we go off running. The likelihood of that could be higher than we think, which I'll go over momentarily. This is the logarithmic chart, the daily view. This is available in the description below, so be sure to check that out. But I've made a lot of changes here, and I've cleaned things up. And now this will align a little bit better with a lot of the other altcoins I'm looking at. So we used to have a green primary pattern, and I've changed that up. That green primary pattern has now been demoted. It's now the alternate pattern. Although it is the most bullish pattern, that does not mean that we don't have a lot of gains ahead. So our green pattern, I'll go over first because that was the one you may be most familiar with. If you've been watching my updates on stellar lumens, we're looking for this entire thing to be a large 1-2, 1-2 nested setup. And we're entering an impulsive 3rd wave next. That's what this green pattern is showing us. However, I had a concern. I actually had a blue alternate pattern in our previous few updates too. My concern was that this rally from our March 2020 everything crash looked better as an ABC up. So I was a little concerned that maybe it's a fake out rally and we're going to crash, or we're going to have this is actually a 1, 2, 3 deep 4th wave, and we have a truncated 5th wave coming. Not really a truncated 5th wave, but we had an unusually deep 4th wave. So my alt pattern was that we may top when other cryptos are just hitting their stride. However, I think it makes much more sense what I have now. So again, before I go to that new blue pattern, the green pattern does call for, again, a 1-2. And then you have your nested classic Elliott wave Fibonacci pinball targets here. So you make it in this box for your 1-2 on the micro scale. After that 2nd wave, you expect an explosive 3rd of a 3rd, slow 4th wave. And then we'd have our bigger 3rd wave finish somewhere up here around $20 before a lengthier 4th wave consolidation and a final top well over $100. What is that? Probably somewhere north of $6 to $8, something like that. However, that is our secondary pattern because this 3-wave ABC look to this wave here, and the fact that we've had a pretty deep correction in a lot of cryptos, not necessarily in stellar lumens, lends that possibility that we're actually in a diagonal much more likely. That's what it says here. The blue primary is a diagonal rally. This is exactly what I'm expecting in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, and several other cryptos. I believe Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, several of them. I'd actually say that most of the cryptos I'm tracking, I'm expecting more of a diagonal kind of rally, and the diagonal is kind of in between a corrective rally and the impulsive rally. It's not as bullish as an impulsive rally. However, it too has 5 waves. It doesn't follow the rules of an impulse. So what we expect in a diagonal is that you have very deep retraces. Each of the subwaves within follow ABC zigzag patterns. And of course, they fall within a trend channel. And finally, you have sharp reversals. So expect a very deep retrace for a 4th wave. If that is the case, this is what my primary expectation is. We are in the middle of an A wave right now. So because Elliott wave patterns are fractal and repetitive, they're recursive, I'd expect the A wave, the subwaves within the A wave to also take ABC format. So something like that, ABC up in that box. That is what I was referring to here. We don't necessarily need to see a 5-wave impulse here, even though we've gone high enough. This could be the end of this first leg of the rally. This could be an A wave up, and have a B wave coming, and a C wave that could take us into that box eventually, or maybe that will finish the smaller wave. Not totally sure. We need to see a bit more upside action, but I'd fully expect us to get to that 60-cent to $1.35 mark just in that A wave. After the A wave, expect a sharp B wave pullback, and up until that point, there will probably be some ambiguity because we may end up having a 5-wave impulse or a 3-wave zigzag up. So whether it's the green first wave or the blue A wave, it'll look almost identical. That will continue all the way into the B wave, the second wave, because there aren't any clear rules on what a second wave should do, as long as you don't go below our original low, which is sitting at 0.61 or 16.1 cents. After that, expect an explosive rally, and that will give us a very good clue as to how we're going to progress, because if we're following the impulse, this should be a 5-wave impulsive pattern. However, if we're following the, actually in either case, it's going to be an impulsive pattern. The distinguishing factor will be what happens after that. So you should see a lengthy 4th-wave consolidation and then a continuation for our 5th wave if it's green. If we're following the blue diagonal pattern, expect a very sharp pullback, sharp zigzag, something like that. So the bottom line is, for all our practical purposes, there's not much difference in how these will look, and it may not matter because it wouldn't really change how you behave, how you react, especially considering that this is a logarithmic chart. So even if you have the shallower impulsive 4th wave pullback, it'd still be quite a pullback. It'd be prudent to take profit up here, at least some profit, if not saying all of your positions. Definitely better not to panic sell. And aside from that, the other point I'd like to make is that these do follow a channel trend line. So you can sometimes make a relatively accurate projection as to when we're going to see these targets be achieved. So this blue box is our 3rd wave target for this rally. That would put us between $5 and $11.24. And if we look at the channel trend line, that puts us in about May of 2023. Again, this is Elliott wave theory. We don't place as much of an emphasis on timing, and oftentimes your 3rd wave will outperform, it'll outrun the trend line, in which case we will revise our trend channel lines. And the most accurate trend channel line you can get is once the 3 and the 4 are done. Once you have those 2 in place, you can much more accurately put a channel trend line on the top. That'll show you where the 5th wave will actually hit. If you had to ask me what I expect, I'm thinking this will align very much with what we're seeing in energy and equities and possibly even the bonds market. I would like to see us hit the top of our 3rd wave later this year. So maybe the fall or December. And like I said, once we get our A wave and the B wave pullback, this should be a pretty relentless rally. It will take an impulsive form. And again, it could outrun, it could actually peak over the end of the channel trend line, the top of the channel trend line. And then again, expect a sharp pullback. Finally, our overall top should fall around $68 based on this being the 1-2 of the diagonal. And it is not unprecedented to see what we call a throwover, where you kind of sneak over the end of the channel trend line. And then you have a colossal pullback to the origin, or at least close to the origin of where the diagonal started. So you could get, there could be some pain at that point. Not something we're too worried about. As for the near term, again, I gave a target 60 cents to $1.35. That projection is just based on a fractal copy of what we saw in the 2020 crash. You can see we had A, B set up before we had the C wave. So we had about a 30% retrace, and then we hit the 1.61 extension. So based on that, I have this fib extension built out over here. So when we get in this box, about $1, right around there, 30% retrace, our 1.618 extension should get us well in this box. So that is where I'm getting the predictions from. Only drawback to diagonals is that they're a little less predictable because the internal structures are questionable. There aren't clear impulsive waves, things like that. You don't necessarily have standardized Fibonacci levels you're going to hit. So I don't see any reason to panic, but it may be a little bit trickier in Stellar Lumens and some of the other altcoins that are following diagonal patterns. I'm going to have a lot more updates, so subscribe. That way you don't miss any of these. And I'm going to have more videos coming out on Elliott Wave education, as well as other asset classes. So if you enjoyed my video, don't forget to give me a like. Till next time, thank you for watching and happy trading.